Salam silat Garuda. Oke teman-teman, di video ini saya ingin membuat tutorial bagaimana cara kita menghadapi todongan senjata api, pistol, seperti ini.
Masalah ini saya pikir menyesatkan gitu ya. Sangat menyesatkan ya. Harus diperbaiki lah. Artinya gitu, kita bikin konten YouTube boleh lah, tapi jangan sampai atau menyesatkan orang juga. Ingat, stop pembukaan publik kan selalu yang dijagokan. Dan oke, sengaja.
Kalau kita misalkan mau cari aman agar daerah sini nggak tertembak, kita bisa tutup. Biarkan tangan kita yang bolong, biarkan tangan kita yang bolong, biarkan tangan kita yang bolong. Asalkan jangan dada kita atau perut kita. Dan kita buang ke sini. Kalau kita punya bela diri, kita langsung serang kemaluan atau enggak leher. Biarkan tangan kita yang bolong, biarkan tangan kita yang bolong. Asalkan jangan dada kita atau perut kita. Biarkan tangan kita yang bolong, biarkan tangan kita yang bolong. Asalkan jangan dada kita atau perut kita. Biarkan tangan kita yang bolong.
Otomatis tangan nggak cuma lubang, tapi tangan lu pasti hancur. Kalau lu tidak tahu informasi atau pengetahuan tentang bentuk ancaman itu, jangan pernah lu memberikan tutorial atau cara atau edukasi apapun lah istilah lu ya, tentang bagaimana cara menghadapi senjata api. Jangan. Ini barel namanya. Kita pegang barelnya, oke. Ini pun juga masih beresiko. Karena pada saat ditembakkan, ya tangan bisa lecet, bahkan bisa berdarah dan merasakan panas. Menyinggung mengenai granat, bom, nuklir. Ya pesan gua jangan terlalu sering nonton film James Bond atau Mission Impossible lah. Saya pengen tahu coba, itu kan
So let's talk real quick about double action, single action. Let's dispel either the myths or some of the misinformation that you guys might have gotten out there. All right, guys, let's get right into it. These 4 pistols right here, these are very common pistols. Today's modern pistols have some of the same characteristics across the board. Set of sights, a trigger, pistol grip, a slide, all that good stuff. But you'll notice there are some specific characteristics that are not shared amongst these guns. You notice these 2 on the bottom. Visible exterior hammers. But if you look closer on this P250 right here, it's a 6-hour. It has a hammer in there also. It's just not visible and it's not cockable by the thumb like these 2 guys right here are. The difference is this pistol, this 1911, it is a single action. This CZ75 is a single and double action. This SIG P250 is a double action only. This Glock, well, the jury is still out on a Glock. In theory, using the double action, single action definition that we're about to tell you, this could be considered a double action, but in most circles, it's also considered a single action. And in most circles, it's probably pretty accurate. But again, based on the definition, it could be a double action. Sound confusing? Well, it can be. Let me break this down a little bit for you. First of all, let's talk about the word action in the phrase double action, single action. The word action is pretty much the action of the trigger. What action is the trigger performing whenever you pull it? Okay, in a single action firearm, the action it's just one single action. In other words, let's say in 1911, for instance, this is a single action only. It can never do the functions or the features of a double action. What that means is, this gun, I don't care how hard you pull this trigger, it is never going to cock this hammer. It's never going to do this. Okay, now in this particular instance, it is ready to go. It is in the cock position. The hammer is loaded, ready to roll. All you have to do is pull the trigger and then bang. You have the hammer going forward. But if you notice, when you pulled that trigger, the only thing that happened was that hammer going forward. It had a single action. The action was the hammer went forward, and it's only one action. In the case of a CZ75, this firearm can actually do two things. If you notice, it can mimic a 1911. If you notice, I just charged the handle, it sent the hammer backwards. I'm going to pull the trigger, and it does a single action. Even though I charged this, that's just one single action. However, if you notice, without the hammer cock, I can perform two actions with the pull of the trigger. If you notice, I'm pulling it backwards. As I pull it backwards, it's sending that hammer rearwards. If you notice, as I continue to pull, that hammer continues to go, it's loaded up, and then I continue to pull backwards, and it sends that hammer forward. It performed two actions. It sent the hammer backwards, that's the single action, and then it sent it forward. That's the second action. Two actions, double action. This pistol right here looks very familiar to a SIG P320, but it is not. The internal characteristics are totally different. The chassis is the same, but the internal characteristics, again, different. You'll notice why. This is a double action only. See, the hammer is going backwards, and it breaks and goes forwards. But there's no way for me to cock that hammer. Even though I charge the slide like a 1911, this hammer does not stay backwards. So this pistol is a double action only. Even if I put one in the chamber, it can still not do anything until I pull that trigger all the way, because it's going to send the hammer back and it's going to send the hammer forward. It is performing two actions and two actions only. This pistol cannot operate like this pistol, and this pistol cannot operate like this pistol. This is a single action only. This is a double action only. The CZ75 is a double action and single action, because again, remember, if we charge the slide, send the hammer back, now it can perform its first shot like a single action. And we'll show you here in a second, as you continue to shoot, the hammer stays back. So it stays a single action throughout the course of fire until you empty the magazine. So this CZ75 has some unique characteristics. Same thing happens on a 1911 as far as the single action mode of it. It continues to fire. As you continue to fire, it sends the hammer backwards, and each time you fire, it's recocking that hammer. That SIG P250 does not cock the hammer every time. You have to actually pull the trigger all the way back on every single cycle. Even after you fire a shot, it does not cock that hammer for you. You are still cocking the hammer after every single shot whenever you fire a true double action only pistol. Now a Glock starts an all new argument. There's a lot of people out there that will tell you that this is a single action, and a lot of people that will tell you is a double action. Quite frankly, it kind of falls into both categories if you really want to start splitting hairs. As far as the single action goes, you look at it kind of like a 1911. I charge the slide, the trigger is forward, it's ready to go, one pull of trigger, bang, it goes. Okay, now this thing is a single action. Each time I'm shooting, I'm not having to cock the hammer, an external type hammer. But it can fall into that double action category if you want to split hairs and take a definition in a different way. What I mean by that is, whenever you are pulling this trigger rearward, it is engaging that striker, getting that striker ready to go, priming that striker, so to speak, and then suddenly it releases it halfway through that trigger pull, and then the striker goes forward, hits the primer, bullet goes bang, or the round goes bang.
Hi, this is Pete for Allen's Arsenal, here to do a video for Tactical Riflemen, and today we're going to do a gelatin test of the Barnes XDP 9mm versus the Corbon Powerball 45 ACP. So now that we've shot the gelatin blocks, I'd next like to go ahead and thank Custom Collagen for supplying the blocks. If you want to go ahead and do tests like this on your own, please go ahead and go to their website and visit them. So we went ahead and shot these at approximately 10 meters away. As you can tell by the cavitation, it was shallower with the 45, but the reason why you don't want it to over penetrate is you might end up shooting non-combatants that are standing behind them. So anyways, from here, as you can see, the blocks on the bottom, we went ahead and shot with the SIG 320 with the Barnes XPD 115 grain bullets. They did go a little bit past the first block, about an inch or two. Not so much on that cavitation area, but definitely the Corbon Powerball, the 45, again at 165 grains. It went ahead and gave a huge cavitational wound right here, so much to where we had gelatin, or in real life, be tissue coming back out the front end. And you also notice that your bullets stopped right around 12 to 13 inch mark. Yes, I do understand that if we went ahead and had like the FBI did a couple layers of denim or had shirts on it, you would get even less on it. There's plenty of the internet ninjas who I'm sure will come back at me and talk about the fact that this is a slower moving round. Personally, with trying it off of this, I've also done it off of phone books that were soaked in water, that were 3 inches thick, gave extreme huge effects as far as the exit wounds. Even though the Barnes has had great history in human tissue, here's proof right here, and I'm not saying that one's better than the other. You have to pick on your own which one you like to carry. Another one of the plus factors on the Corbon Powerball is the fact of the polymer ball. It does make
firearm, so it's safe to work with. This is my headgear. I can't hear you guys anymore, but hopefully you guys can hear me. My friends Charles, Heath, Boom, Boom, Sean, everyone's here. You have the actual firearm. You take this one out. Hang on to this one. Come closer, please.
The range is hot. The range is hot.
So the same as the replica weapon I was using right now, which was a Glock 17, correct? This is our standard issued Glock 17 for the department.
Correct.
Good. So here, boom, 9mm.
Yes.
Or 40. 9. We're hot right here. Come a little closer. Check it out. So the grip that I have is wrapping 2 fingers on the trigger guard, the other 2 fingers on the actual barrel here. Of course, you want to be very careful that nothing enters in front of the barrel. So I'm just fully wrapping the situation right here. You're going to squeeze pretty firmly here. But it's amazing how the firearm is designed so that the actual blast of the actual shell and the bullet is designed to slide the weapon. Anything you do to disrupt that affects it drastically, and it's not designed to overpower these disruptions. It's not designed to be touched at all. So when you grab it, it's surprisingly easier than you would think in terms of a safe operation to have control of the weapon, to be here, and to have your finger in the trigger guard right here. Boom. So we fired around. I use my elbow strikes. I'm moving. At this point, we're racking the weapon, turning, getting rid of the shell, coming back, and we can fire again. The whole point is you have to be able to be fired from here, be safe, and know that it's no big deal. And it's no big deal. Okay? What happens is it moves about 2 millimeters in your grip right here. If you have a solid grip, boom, let it go, slide it, let it go, and you're back into operation from here. Moral of the story, protect.
Okay, so we're just going to get right into it. We're going to go from gun to gun to gun and step up the calibers as we go and change them up a bit. Starting off with 9mm, we are using the Lehigh Defense. These are some nasty rounds. Firearm we're using is the Taurus PT92 9mm. All right. See what happens. All right, so next up is 45 ACP. We have a 1911. This is the Kimber Eclipse Pro 2. And we're shooting the HPR 185 grain jacked with hollow points. Let's see what this looks like. In the chest. Fire in the hole. why stop at a single 1911 when you can do a double-barreled 1911? We have the Arsenal Firearms 2011. This is a double-barreled 1911 shooting two 45 ACP rounds using the exact same HPR rounds. Rather than doing it this way, where the high speed's only going to see one shell, it's the kill shot. We have to. And 3, 2, 1. All right, up next, 44 Magnum. Why not? This is the Taurus Raging Bull 44 Magnum. We do have the Barnes Vortex 225 grain hollow point round. Definitely leaves a decent hole in whatever you shoot. And we're about to see it firsthand. I love my job. Clearly, we can't move on past any type of firearm without using the Smith & Wesson 500. This thing is a tank and a fire breather. Hopefully we'll be able to see some fire on the gel. We are shooting Hornady XTP 500 grain projectiles. Comparing this to the 44 Magnum round, it's like child's play. It's like putting in a lipstick container. Yeah, America! Good God. Do you feel the difference? The concussive force of that?
Yo, what's up guys? Jadi kali ini saya dan teman akan memberikan tutorial atau berbagi pengalaman ataupun memberikan demonstrasi bagaimana cara menghadapi todongan senjata api atau pistol. Jadi bagi kalian yang awam tentang senjata api atau pistol, pertama saya sarankan kalian mempelajari terlebih dahulu tentang pistol. Jadi kalian akan mempunyai gambaran lebih jelas bagaimana pistol. Jadi kalian bisa mengendalikan pistol dengan cara yang benar. Sekarang kita praktekkan, tapi terlebih dulu saya kenalkan dulu dengan teman saya.
Jabrik.
Oh iya, jadi kita mulai gerakan praktek kita. Jadi pertama adalah serangan dengan menggunakan penyerang adalah memegang pistol dengan kedua tangan. Jadi bagaimana kita mengatasi todongan senjata api. Kalau kita pada posisi jauh seperti ini, kita tidak mungkin melakukan perlawanan karena kita tidak mungkin melebihi kecepatan dari peluru. Jadi kita, tapi entah bagaimana kalau misalnya posisinya kita seperti ini posisinya. Jadi kalau masih kita mempunyai jarak seperti ini, kita masih mempunyai peluang untuk melakukan perlawanan. Jadi sekarang pistol ini diarahkan ke kepala saya. Jadi bagaimana cara saya untuk melakukan perlawanan? Jadi gerakannya adalah secara pelan adalah kaki masuk. Jadi perlawanan ya. Jadi kepala saya menghindar, tangan memegang barel atau senjata api ini atau bagian dari pistol ini. Kemudian bergerak ke kanan. Jadi kepala kita yang menghindar. Kemudian kita bergerak. Kemudian dia disusul dengan gerakan kaki kita ke belakang agar kita bisa terdapat jarak, agar kita menghindari serangan susulan atau misalnya penyerang mungkin juga memberikan perlawanan. Kita coba gerakan yang agak sedikit cepat tapi tidak terlalu cepat, agar kalian bisa mengetahui lintasan dari gerakan saya. Jadi adalah gerakan menghindar, gerakan kepala menghindar, kemudian tangan, kemudian gerakan kaki. Oke, sekarang gerakan yang enggak lebih cepat lagi. Sekarang super cepat, biar kalian bisa memahami gerakan lintasannya. Tadi dengan misalnya pistol diarahkan ke kepala saya. Jadi sekarang cara kedua adalah pistol ini diarahkan ke badan saya. Jadi bagaimana cara menghindari serangan seperti ini. Jadi tetap saja kita badan menjadi sasaran. Jadi kita harus badan kita yang keluar dari arah lintasan dari peluru. Jadi kita bergerak ke arah keluar dari arah lintasan peluru. Jadi gerakan lambatnya adalah hampir sama. Kita keluar dengan memegang barel, tapi arahnya agak ke belakang, berlawanan. Untuk tangan yang bebas ini bergerak pada posisi ini ya. Jadi kita bergerak keluar, kita bengkokkan seperti ini, kemudian tangan yang bebas ini bergerak. Sekarang gerakan yang agak cepat sedikit. Oke, jadi kali ini itu yang bisa kami berikan tutorial tentang bagaimana cara mengatasi todongan senjata api atau pistol. Ya, dengan dua tangan ataupun satu tangan. Jadi kalau sebenarnya sama saja kalau dua tangan ataupun satu tangan. Misalnya tadi yang satu tangan coba. Yang diarahkan ke badan saya. Kalau yang diarahkan ke badan saya jadi tetap ke arah keluar. Pegang barelnya, tangan yang bebas ini ke arah samping untuk melepaskan pistolnya. Coba gerakan lagi. Jadi kita harus membuat jarak dengan penyerang agar kita menghindari serangan susulan dari penyerang. Jadi itu guys yang bisa kami berikan tutorial. Jadi kali ini bagaimana cara mengatasi todongan senjata api atau pistol. Selamat mencoba.